So for unit 4.6, what we're going to be doing is comparing parabolas. Okay, so comparing parabolas. Basically for all of these, we're going to ask you to graph, label line of symmetry, and vertex. Okay, so graph, label line of symmetry, and vertex. So for example number 1, I'm going to give you two different parabolas. The first one is f of x, so f parentheses x equals 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared. The second parabola is g of x equals negative 1/2 times x minus 1 quantity squared. Writing f parentheses x and then writing g parentheses x, basically this is just a way of saying parabola number 1 and parabola number 2. Okay, but instead of saying that, we use different different letters in front. So this is basically the same thing. So all I'm asking you to do is graph, label the line of symmetry, and label the vertex. So where would you start with this one? How would you find the line of symmetry for the first one?
You would have to
Always start here. So line of symmetry is at x equals what?
1.
Positive 1. Okay, what's the vertex for this parabola? 1 comma, what's missing at the end? A 0. So your vertex is at 1 comma 0. Okay, now that you have line of symmetry and vertex, you can graph this, and it doesn't have to be a perfect graph, just a rough sketch is fine. So line of symmetry is at x equals 1. So put your line of symmetry at 1. Please make sure and label it. And your vertex is 1 comma 0. So over 1 up 0. Would this graph be facing up or down? Or opening up or down? Opening up, and you know that because of the A value. So this is opening up and is it fat, skinny, or normal? It's skinny. Okay, any whole number other than 1 is going to be skinny. So this would be facing opening up, and it would be fairly skinny. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second equation. Okay, for this one, how do you find the line of symmetry? Or what is the line of symmetry?
It's 1.
Line of symmetry is that x equals 1. Remember, it always has to be an x equals equation. What's your vertex?
1.
1 comma 0, because there's nothing at the end, so 1, 0. What does this number in front tell you? Is it going to be facing or opening up or down?
Down.
It will open down, and is it fat, skinny, or normal?
Fat.
It's fat because it's a fraction. So again, I'm going to graph this. Line of symmetry is that x equals 1. Vertex was over 1 up 0. And we decided that this one was opening down and it was fat. Now that you have these, now what you're going to do is in your packet today on your worksheet, you're going to look at a bunch of different statements, and I want you to tell me basically which ones are true. Okay, that's all we're going to have to worry about. So we're just going to look at a bunch of different statements and figure out which ones are correct. So for these, and you're going to be looking at the same statements for everything. Okay, you don't have to write all these down. You just have to tell if they're correct or not. So for A, do both the parabolas open in the same direction? No. So you're going to pick how all of these that are correct. The parabolas have the same line of symmetry. Is that true?
Yeah.
Yes. So B is correct. You're not done though. The parabolas have the same vertex.
True.
Yes. Both parabolas have maximums.
False.
No, because this one has a minimum, this one has a maximum. Both parabolas have minimums. No. How about both parabolas are the same width?
No.
No. To be the same width, what would you have to have? Which value has to be the same? The A value. Okay, so this is 2, that's 1/2. Those are definitely not the same width. If you had something like 2 and negative 2, those would be the same width. Okay, but they have to be the exact same number. The f of x parabola is wider than the g of x parabola. Is that true?
No.
No? How about the g of x parabola is wider than the f of x parabola?
True.
That's true. So B, C, and H are true for these. Okay, and you will have this list of statements on your homework. So you'll be able to see it. You're not going to have to write them down or anything like that. I'm just looking for which of the statements are true. And there will be definitely multiple answers. Okay, so it's not just going to be one for any of them. Questions on how I did that? So all we're doing is just comparing the two of them. Okay, let's do one more and we'll be done. For example number 2, sorry, I lost my place here. I would like you to look at, let's look at f of x equals negative 3x squared minus 9, and g of x equals negative 3x squared plus 9. Compare these two parabolas. So first thing we want to do is find line of symmetry and the vertex. So how would you find the line of symmetry here? This has nothing to do with factoring. So this one, nope, no factoring, so we're not GCFing or anything like that. For this one, is this set up in descriptive form? No. So there's two different ways you could do this, okay? Does this look like it's kind of close to being in descriptive form?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so a couple different ways you could do this. You could figure out the ABCs, and you could figure out A is negative 3. What would the B value be here?
9.
0. The C value is always the one at the end. So the B value, remember, ax squared plus bx plus c, just like quadratic function. If there's one missing, it's always a 0. Okay, so you could figure out the ABCs that way, and then what would you do? So I'll show it to you this way. So A would be negative 3, B is 0, C is negative 9. How could you find line of symmetry from this is standard form? What would you do to find line of symmetry? Right, you'd start with x equals negative b over 2a. This would give you what? Negative 0 over 2 times negative 3. What does that give you?
0.
0 over negative 6 is just 0. So your line of symmetry is at x equals 0. How would you find the vertex? How would you get the y value?
By making
Plug things in. So f of x is the same thing as writing y equals. If you plug in 0 in for x, you'll get your y value. So negative 3 times 0 squared minus 9. 0 minus 9 would give you a y value of negative 9. So what's your vertex?
0, negative 9.
0, negative 9. Then you'd graph. So here, line of symmetry is at 0. So it'd be right in the middle here. Vertex is at over 0, down 9. So it'd be down here, and you do need to label it. Would this be facing up or down? Opening up or down? Is it opening up or down? What's your original equation? Down, and you know that because this A value is a negative. So it'd be opening down, and it would be fat, skinny, or normal? Skinny. So this would be opening down, and it would be skinny. Okay, so you can find the vertex and line of symmetry by using the formula that I gave you. Or these are also able to, what is inside being squared with your x in here? What's actually being squared in there? What can I write, what can I add to anything without changing the equation?
0.
A 0. That's the same thing. Okay? So you could rewrite this in descriptive form. If you rewrite this in descriptive form, then you can just find line of symmetry by looking at it. Line of symmetry would be x equals 0. What would your vertex be?
9.
0, comma 9. So you could use the formula to come up with your vertex, or you could convert this to be in a descriptive form parabola. Does not matter either way. You'd still get the right answer. Okay? Then once you have these, you can graph it. So line of symmetry is at x equals 0. Vertex is at 0, 9, and that's up 9. Is this probably going to be facing or opening up or down? This is opening down. And is it fat, skinny, or normal? It's skinny. So opening down and skinny. Then you could look at those choices again and determine which of them would work. Okay, so which of these are correct? So if you look at these, I'll just line them up here for you guys. Okay, so if you look at both of these, is A true? Are both both parabolas open in the same direction?
Yes.
Do they both open in the same direction? Yes, so A is true. Both parabolas have the same line of symmetry?
Yes.
Yes, B is true. Both parabolas have the same vertex?
No.
No. Both parabolas have maximums?
Yes.
Yes. So D is true. Both parabolas have minimums? No. You could never have both D and E. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Both parabolas are the same width?
Yes.
Yes, because they both have the same coefficient. They're both a 3 in front. So they both have the same width, so that is F. And then F of x is wider than G of x? No. G of x is wider than F of x? No. You couldn't also have any of F, G, or H all be at the same time. So this one had 4 different similarities. So all you're doing today is just comparing parabolas. Okay, homework for this, you're going to be working on worksheet 6, and you're only doing numbers 1 through 6. Okay, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are all word problems. We'll deal with those on block day. Okay, so you're only doing numbers 1 through 6. You have plenty of time to get started on this right now. And then if you get it done, I will stamp it.